Alright you guys, so it is late and I'm here in bed. I was actually editing another video that I've been working on, but it's kind of been on my heart to talk to you guys a little bit about our trying to conceive journey and just share some of the things that I've been feeling about the whole situation. So that's what this video is going to be about. I am literally like under the covers in bed, and I just want to chat with you guys about some of the stuff that's on my mind. You guys know that I love chatting with you guys, like if you're my girlfriends, and a lot of you guys are asking me, you know, are you trying for baby number 2? Which I have told you guys that yes, my husband and I are trying for baby number 2. But this has been very just like it's a whole new dynamic to our relationship these days. So to give you guys a little bit of background information, and I'm trying to not be too all over the place with this video, but to give you a little bit of background information, my husband and I, we have a 14-month-old baby girl. So when we got pregnant with Riley, it was very easy. And I pray to God every single day. I know that we're so blessed, and I know that we were so blessed in that process that we didn't really have to go through a long trying to conceive journey with Riley. So with Riley, basically what happened was I went off of birth control, and I think like, I don't know, like 3 months after that, I missed my period. And I was like, oh, okay, well, this is weird. And my boobs were hurting, and I decided to take a pregnancy test, and sure enough, I was pregnant. But I wouldn't say that we were really like trying. Like I had a little app on my phone that would tell me my fertile days. And it was kind of just one of those things where like, I just wouldn't say that we were like really trying. Like I wasn't like, oh my God, like we need to have sex today because I'm fertile. Like when it happened, and thankfully, you know, we got pregnant. But this time around, I feel like there's just so much more pressure involved for a lot of different reasons. Number one, I now know what it's like to have a baby. I want nothing more than to give Riley a sibling, to give her a little brother or a little sister. And it's just something that I want so badly now. And mostly because of the fact that like, I know how good it is. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like before when I was, you know, hoping that I would get pregnant with my first child, like, yeah, I wanted a baby. I had baby fever, but I didn't really understand like that love, that just everything, like I said, everything that comes with being a mom. So now that I know what that is, I want it bad. I want it really bad. And then because I want it so badly, like, you know, I'm doing all my research and I'm watching videos, and it's just so amazing to me. Like these videos, like the trying to conceive updates are very informative and they're so helpful for so many people. But like line progression tests and things like that, those are all resources that I never watched when I was trying to get pregnant with Riley. Like I said, like I had no idea what it was like to take multiple pregnancy tests. Like I took that one pregnancy test when I was pregnant with Riley. I wasn't testing 5 days post-ovulation, 6 days post-ovulation, like all of the 10 DPOs and like all the things that I've been reading about. Like I didn't do that with Riley. And so again, I know that that's a great thing that you can do now, that you can do these early pregnancy tests, but there's a part of me that's getting like really stressed out about it. I keep going back and forth about like whether I should be testing like sooner, like before I miss my period, or if I should just wait and see if I miss my period. But there's like that control freak part of me that like literally wants to be testing every single day and wants to see the lines. But then I'm in the back of my head like scared that I'm gonna test and then it's gonna come back negative and then I'm gonna be sad. But if I get my period and I'm not pregnant, am I gonna be just as sad? I don't know. There's just a lot of thoughts and things that I'm going through. But then there's the actual like how it is affecting my relationship with my husband. And I tell you guys all the time when I talk about my marriage and when I talk about my relationship, Joe and I are solid. I love my husband. This year has been the hardest year in our marriage since we became parents, and there's a lot of new things that we're, you know, having to be exposed to and things that we're dealing with. But when it comes to this topic, I feel like we've had to have some real serious conversations too, because trying to conceive can be very stressful and it can definitely take a toll on your relationship. When you initially think like, oh, you're trying to conceive, that must mean that you're having sex all the time and it's great, you're just having a ton of sex. Like that's not necessarily how it always is. I think that there's a lot of pressure that like plays a part in all of that. And now it's not just like, oh, we need to have sex and it's fun. Now it's like, well, there's a 5-day window and you need to be having sex during that window in order to get pregnant. And it just becomes a little bit more stressful. I don't know how else to say it except that in my experience, it has been more stressful for everybody involved. So just to give you an idea of a timeline. So when Riley turned a year old in December, that's when I decided to just get off of birth control. I think I may have even gone off of birth control like end of November, just to give my body some time to like get rid of like whatever the birth control does to you. But my whole thing had always been like, I wanted to wait until Riley was a year old before trying again. And so December came around and I actually still hadn't gotten my period back. I was still kind of breastfeeding Riley. I was still nursing her twice a day. And it literally took me until I think the very end of December or very beginning of January to get my period back, to get a normal cycle back. So that's like 12 months postpartum. I hadn't had a period. So really I was back in the getting pregnant game like as of January. So I'm filming this video, it is March, and I know that that's not like a long time frame. Like I am totally aware that if I have just become back to the point where I can get pregnant again in January and it's March and I'm not pregnant yet, like I'm not freaking out. Like I'm not sad. I'm not like, you know, going crazy. Like I know, and I am sensitive to the fact that there are so many women who spend months and years trying to get pregnant. So I'm not trying to downplay that, and I'm not trying to like make it seem like there's a sob story here, but I'm just trying to share my experiences and the things that I'm going through, because I know that there are a lot of maybe first-time moms who got pregnant and now you're trying to conceive baby number 2. And when you're actually trying to conceive and you're actually looking at your fertile days and you're trying to make something happen, like it is a stressful process. It can be a stressful process. And I just think it's good to kind of talk about some of these things. So I think January came around, I wasn't pregnant. February came around, also wasn't pregnant. So now we're at the point in March where I'm kind of in that 2-week wait right now, where I'm supposed to be getting my period like next week. And obviously if I don't get my period then there's a possibility that I'd be pregnant. But I'm in that 2-week wait, and I'm actually at the point where there is a possibility where I could test maybe in the next couple days and find out that I'm pregnant. But again, like I said earlier, I'm trying to figure out if I should test. I don't want to get so stressed out about this. I don't want it to become this obsessive kind of situation, because I know that that's gonna affect my mood and it's gonna affect everybody's mood, and that's not really what I want. But at the same time, I'm also an overachiever, and when I want something so badly, like I am to a certain extent going to do everything in my power to try to get the result that I want. So like the other day, Joe and I had to have a very serious conversation, because when we first started this whole getting off of birth control situation thing, we kind of had sat down and we kind of had said, you know what, we're going to be open to the possibility of getting pregnant, but if it doesn't happen, like we're okay. Like we're not trying. That was the stage that we were in. And at that point, when we had initially agreed to that, I was like, that's fine, you know, we'll just not try, you know, we're not using protection, we're not on birth control. If it happens, it happens. But like a couple weeks into that, I feel like I got to the point where I was opening up my tracker and I was figuring out what my fertile days were. And I was on my own trying to make things happen on the days when there was a higher likelihood of getting pregnant. Obviously, that's what you do when you're trying to get pregnant. So there I was, and I was like trying to have sex on these days, and I was trying to make something happen on those days. And Joe would kind of look at me like, do you know something that I don't know? Like, what's going on here? Like, are you trying to get pregnant? Like, it was just like, him and I were just on different pages. He was more of in like a just go with the flow, when it happens kind of mentality, because that's the conversation we had initially had. And then since I was kind of taking it into my own hands to just be more aggressive with the trying, it caused some issues with us because we just weren't on the same page. So he kind of had to point out to me that what I had initially said to him and the actions that I was taking, they just didn't align, which was true. Like, I had initially said, we're just not trying. And now here I was, like, really trying. And if you've never tried to conceive before, you may think that I am a crazy person right now. You may think that I am ranting about something that makes no sense to you. Believe me, I would feel exactly the same way had I not gone through this myself this time around. But all of that to say is that if you guys are at any point going to think about trying to conceive, my biggest piece of advice is for you and your partner to really have a conversation about what trying to conceive really means. Like, are you just gonna like go with the flow, see what happens, no pressure, no stress, or are you really going to give this a go? Are you really going to be looking at your calendar, looking at your ovulation cycle and saying, okay, I'm fertile these 5 days, and are you gonna have sex all 5 days? Or like, what is your expectation? What are you both comfortable with? I feel like that's gonna give you the best chance to just make this an enjoyable process. Obviously, it takes 2 people to make a baby, so you both need to be on the same page, and it really needs to be a situation where you're both really happy about it, because like, I mean, I know I wouldn't want to be in a situation where like this is a miserable process and then we do get pregnant, and then in the back of my head I'm like, crap, like we made a baby, but like we made a baby through all of this fighting and arguing, and it was just not a pleasant experience. So yeah, I feel like I definitely threw myself into a world of trying to conceive that I didn't know a whole lot about, and I feel like I underestimated how badly I was gonna want this. And I feel like I just thought that I was gonna be okay with just going with the flow, and now I really want to be a little bit more aggressive with the trying. I do want to say though, like, I'm 28 years old, so I don't feel like I, you know, absolutely need to get pregnant in the next 6 months. Like, I would absolutely love to get pregnant. If I sat here and I told you like, oh, I don't really care, or like, I would love it, but if it doesn't happen, like, I'll be fine, I would be lying to you. I would be devastated if I couldn't have another child. I love Riley, and I feel so blessed, and I thank God every single day for her. And I feel so fortunate and beyond blessed and lucky to have a child, to have this family. In no way do I want you guys to think that I'm ungrateful for that, but I do want another baby. I've always said I want a big family. I want 3 or 4 kids. So I would love to be pregnant with baby number 2. I think that if we get to the point where it's like a year has gone by and I'm still not pregnant, that's when I may go to the doctor, where we may take additional, I don't know, measures to get pregnant. But right now, we've kind of decided that we're just going to try a little bit more aggressively, and see how that goes. I will also say that I love sharing my life with you guys, and I love sharing this process with all you mamas who may be going through something similar, but it does also add more pressure just putting it out there. But that's just what I signed up for, you know what I mean? Like, that's just part of this, and I feel okay sharing this with you guys because, like I said, the first time I got pregnant was very easy and it was wonderful, but there's not a whole lot of conversation that happens about, well, what does it really look like when you're trying to have a baby? And I love the fact that there's so many more women opening up about their fertility struggles and their miscarriages and all of that, because as sad as it is, and like every single time that I read a post about a miscarriage or a stillbirth, like I cry. And I'm not even gonna get emotional. Like, I don't want this to be this kind of video, but I sob because it's just like the hardest thing I think that anybody can experience. But I think these are conversations that more of us need to have because it happens so often. And I know that so many women can feel alone when they're going through this stuff. And I don't think that we should have to, you know, feel alone when we're going through stuff like this. So I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to say right now. Obviously, I'm keeping you guys posted and letting you guys know about whatever goes on around here. If you'd like to send me some good vibes, that'd be great. Before I go though, I also want to tell you guys that I have prayed so much about this, and I have prayed to God, and the number one thing that I tell him is that I want to trust his timing, and that sometimes, you know, I may want something so badly and it just might not be the right time. So I've asked him to just help me, to give me that patience and to give me the strength to know that when it is time for us to conceive another baby, it will happen, God willing, according to his plan. So in that sense, I feel very strong and I feel very positive about our future. Yeah, I'm gonna get out of this clothes. I'm gonna put on some PJs. If you guys have any questions about anything that I said, if I just rambled and you just don't understand anything I said, feel free to comment down below or DM me on Instagram. I love chatting with you guys. If you guys are going through something similar, if you're trying to conceive another child, let me know. Let's chat, let's hang out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much. If you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.